Hi, this is JP McCary, lead makeup artist for Temptu Pro. And today on our lovely model Rebecca, I'm going to be showing you how to achieve a beautiful, easy, simple makeup using Temptu SD. One of the key things to know about airbrush makeup is that it's all about really two things. It's all about your equipment and it's all about your formula. And that's why I'm choosing to use the Temptu SD makeup, because it gives such a beautiful, flawless finish. It's so easy to use. It's highly water resistant. You put it on once and it's not going to go anywhere, but it's going to give you that beautiful, flawless finish that we all want when we do makeup. So the first step is I'm going to use a silicone-based concealer around the eye. I want to make sure that all of my products work together and that they're all complementary to what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to start just using this a little bit where needed. If you'll look up for me, perfect. She has gorgeous skin, so I'm going to need very little. Now, with airbrushing, you can really airbrush almost anything. But to be quite honest, around the eye, I tend to still use a concealer around the under eye area. You can use airbrush on the top, and actually for this demonstration, I'm going to be airbrushing her eyeshadow on, a very quick and easy method. But for under the eye, I still recommend using a concealer. One of the things about airbrushing, and the reason that I airbrush, is that for me, it's all about this beautiful finish. It's all about beautiful makeup without looking made up. That's what we all want. We all want gorgeous skin, and that's why airbrushing has become such an amazing thing, especially with the rise of high-def TV kind of entering our world. So I'm just going to use a little bit of the concealer in a few places on her face. She needs so little, just for a little bit of extra coverage. And then I'm also going to show you a trick that you can do with the airbrush itself, which I call it the magic eraser. It's going to give a beautiful, flawless finish to the skin. So now we've put concealer on her face, and now we're going to do some airbrushing. And one of the things that I like to do first is I like to start off with a little bit of makeup. With airbrushing, when you're airbrushing, you have to think about it differently than when you're using conventional makeup. And I've been in this business for 10 years, 12 years doing this. And for me, that was one of the hardest things to learn about airbrushing, is that you look at your makeup differently when you airbrush than when you're doing conventional. Because think about with conventional makeup, you put it on and then you blend it out. With airbrushing, you just have to trust that it's coming out. And you kind of have to do a little bit, step back and look, and you're going to see how natural it looks, but also how much coverage you get all at the same time. So for me, it was a little bit kind of retraining my eye in how do I look at makeup. So what I just did is I used some of the Temptu SD makeup, and for Rebecca, I mixed number 1 and 3. That's also one of the other amazing benefits of using airbrush, is that you can mix everything right in your gun. So I can make perfect, flawless matching foundation for every model, no matter how light or how dark they are. So I mixed the two colors right here in my gun, and then there's something we call in the airbrush community called back bubbling, where you just cover up the tip and you press down. And what happens is it mixes right inside the gun. I don't know if you can see that, but it does a really nice job of mixing the two colors for you so you get one shade. And then with airbrushing, you just need it where needed. You don't want to start all over the face. I'm also checking my pressure, and I want to make sure it's strong, but it's not too strong. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And PSI is all about feeling it. Once you get used to your machine, once you get used to your product, you're going to understand how high the pressure needs to be or how low the pressure needs to be, depending upon the look that you want. So the first thing I'm going to do with airbrushing is I'm going to just choose where I want to start. For her, I'm going to start a little bit on the forehead, just where needed. And then around the cheek. She has beautiful skin, so I don't need makeup everywhere. A little bit along the chin. And again, this is just kind of that spot control, like I'm just deciding where I need a little bit more coverage. And then on this side, we're going to start right here, the forehead. Now this is a great trick that we use in the airbrush community called stippling. And what it is it's like a magic eraser. So we see this blemish right here on the top of her forehead. We all have blemishes. And we do something called stipple, where we just pull lightly back and forth on the gun. And what this does is it lightly layers makeup right onto the blemish, and it just kind of magic erases the blemish gone. Do you see that? Another one here. Again, just a little bit back and forth on the trigger of the gun. And it just kind of makes the blemish disappear. Same here. And then light application because she has such beautiful skin. I'm going to use a little bit more, so I'm going to grab the Temptu SB number 1 and 3 and just mix them right in. Remember, if you're beginning airbrushing, you want to start off with less is more. It's easier to add than it is to take away. One of the reasons I love this formula, the SB formula from Temptu, is because it really does such a nice job of just blending right into the skin and looking natural. And especially, as I said earlier, with high def becoming so crucial as a part of our lives as makeup artists, it's really crucial that we can make the skin just look beautiful and healthy, but not look like it has a lot of makeup on. One of the reasons that airbrushing is gaining even more popularity because of high-def TV is the way that it applies the makeup. Is that it puts it on in a pixel pattern, just like HD picks up TV. Look how beautiful that is. Put your chin down for me. Okay, I see one more area I want to work a little bit on. And the beauty of the SB makeup is if you put too much on, you can take your finger, you can take a brush or a sponge, and you can just blend it right out. You have a few seconds before it dries down. But the beauty of this formula is that it just gives such a natural, flawless finish to the skin. She doesn't look heavily made up, but she just looks like she has beautiful skin. So now that we've achieved the perfect canvas, now it's about adding color. But one of the myths about airbrushing that I want to address is you can clean your gun quite easy and quite quickly. Remember when I said less is more? The reason we want to do that is because you don't need a lot of makeup, and if you don't have a lot of excess makeup in your gun, it's very easy to clean your gun. So you just take the Temptu SB cleanser, add a few drops, and then you spray right into one of the Temptu cleaning pots. And pull back. And what this does is this cleans out your gun for you in a quick second. I'm ready now to move to my next color. So I want to do a little bit of contour because I want to really make sure on Rebecca that we bring out these lovely cheekbones that she has. One of the rules, and this is one of those rules, it's more of a guideline. You want to go about 3 shades darker than the average complexion in the skin. So she's a mixture of 1 and 3, so I'm going to go to about a 6 for her contour, because I need very little. So I'm going to take about 4 drops. When I did foundation, the typical rule on foundation application is about 10 to 12 drops for the entire face. For contouring, you're wanting about 4 drops. For blushes and highlighters, depending on how much you're going to use, you're going to want to use about the same amount. So I just applied 4 drops of the SB number 6, and I'm going to have her look straight ahead, and I'm just going to emphasize right here along her jawline. So I'm going to just pull back slightly, right under the jaw, right under the cheekbone, I'm sorry, and right under the jaw if I want to emphasize her jawbone a little bit. Now, one of the tricks and beautiful things about airbrushing is that I have 4 brushes in my hand at all times. If I just pull back a little bit on the trigger, I'm going to get a sheer coverage. If I pull back halfway, I'm going to get a medium coverage, and if I pull back all the way, I'm going to get a full coverage. But the beauty of it is that all 3 of those are going to look blended, and you don't have to go back and buff out anything or blend anything. So even though this is such a dark color, we see how dark this is, but because I'm in such control with my airbrush, I just pulled back a little bit and I got this beautiful contoured cheek. So now I'm going to do the other side, starting back in the hairline, just emphasizing right under the cheekbone, just pulling back a little bit on the gun and a little bit on the jawline. One of the tricks that I've also learned about airbrushing is you always want to start the air off the face and then move on to the face. It's just more calming and more soothing. Does it feel good? Yeah? Good. All right. So now I'm going to take a few drops of my cleanser, spray it right into my cleaning pot, and now we get to talk about blush and highlighter. For me, blush is so important. I think blush is one of those things that transforms the face instantly. And the reason I love the SB from Temptu is because it looks so natural. I'm actually going to use an incredibly bright color called pink. This is actually part of the high def line of Temptu. But because of airbrushing, I have such control, I'm just going to spray back a little bit, and it's going to give this really beautiful pop color right onto the apples of the cheek. And with airbrushing, especially with blush, this is one of those things that you want to make sure you start off with less and then you can add more, okay? So with the blush, I used about 4 drops. And now I'm going to start right on the apple of the cheek. Also, if you're new to airbrushing, one of the ways that you can get a more natural application or a more sheer application is to turn your PSI down a little bit. If you don't think you're going to have the control because you're beginning with the gun, just know that if you turn your PSI down, you're going to get less makeup. So that's a good way to make sure that you don't make any mistakes, especially if you're beginning. So start right on the apple and just pull back a little bit. Now on the other side. Oh, this is beautiful. See, for me, blush, when I'm talking about beauty or everyday kind of natural makeup, blush is such an important thing. And the way that I look at blush is I look at it as a way to kind of give flushness to the cheek. It's a way to look like you just kind of got done on a brisk walk and have that really natural color right on the apples. And if you make a mistake, like I said, you have a few seconds to kind of buff or blend everything out. I'm just going to lightly tap right around the eye area. See how beautiful that is? So now that we've applied the perfect blush color, now we're going to use the SB cleanser, just a few drops right inside the gun. And into our cleaning pot, we're just going to spray out the excess makeup. Now, one thing about SB makeup, and one of the reasons I love it, is that you don't have to use powder. It gives such a natural glow to the skin. Now, I do use powder, typically at least in the T-zone or anywhere that I feel like they're going to have a little bit too much of a glow. So I am going to powder her in just a minute. But just know that with SB, you don't have to. So now I'm going to use one of the highlighters, and I've chosen a beautiful color called Pink Pearl, which is going to play off this kind of bright blush that we've given her. And it's just going to be used around the eye area. This is a trick that's been happening for celebrities for forever and ever. That just when you use a little bit of a shimmer or a sheen right around the eye, it kind of diffuses around the eye, makes the eye look a little bit younger. It diminishes the look of fine lines and wrinkles. So this is a great trick. So I'm going to take a little bit right around the eyebrow and right on the upper cheekbone. The beauty of this is that it shouldn't look heavy. It should just be this kind of light accent. Again, less is more, especially when you're dealing with something that has shimmer in it. Now, I know you're probably thinking, okay, wait a minute, you're going to airbrush her brows on. One of the things that we've done at Temptu is we've created something called the Airbrow. It comes with all these different stencils and shapers that kind of help you control the brow look that you're giving to the client. One of the things that I love about our brows and airbrushing brows is that it looks so natural. Again, you're in control of how much makeup you're putting on, but the stencil is making it where it's precise and it's precision. So I'm going to clean out the highlighter. So our gun is clean, and now we're ready to move right into our brow color. And for this exercise, for her, she's got really beautiful brows. So I'm going to use something called our freehand stencil. This is a shaper that allows us to be in control of the shape of the brow. So you use it just where needed, and you kind of move it as you go along. What you'll notice is right here at the tip, this is where the beginning of the brow is, the arch, and then the tail. So I can control kind of where the brow is going, how much I want to emphasize the arch. Do I want it to go up? Do I want it to come down? So I'm in a lot of control when I use this product. So for her brow color, we have 7 different brow colors. For her, I'm going to use a color called Deep Taupe because I don't want to bring too much attention to her brows. I definitely want them to be more complementary to this beautiful makeup that we've done. And I would say about 6 drops, 4 to 6 drops will do both brows. So I've just put those right into my gun. Now I take the stencil, and I want to start where I want the most color or where I want to emphasize the most. So for her, for Rebecca, we're going to start right at the inner corner of the eye. So we now just use the stencil to kind of help control where the brow goes. And now in the arch. Again, less is more. You can always add. And now for the tail of the brow. Working right along the stencil line. So you can see how natural that is. Beautiful, looks great. So now you're just gonna clean the stencil and you're gonna flip it to the other side. We're gonna do the same thing here. Starting right in the inner corner, right at the arch. And now working on the tail. And the beautiful thing too is if you wanted to be a little bit more dramatic in your brow, we make so many other different stencils. You could use Dolce Vita. You could use, I love this stencil. This stencil gives such a dramatic brow. It's great, but remember, you can also move the stencil. So if you want it to be a little bit more of a straighter brow, you can kind of control the stencil and where the brow goes. One of my favorites is the ones that you can add hair to. So if someone has sparse hair in their brows, you use these. We have two different stencils that add hair. One adds a little bit more of a longer, kind of thicker, fuller brow, which is this one here. And here, this one just gives a little bit more of kind of sparseness. And these are great if someone doesn't have a lot of eyebrow. So now that we've achieved great brows, I want to show you just a quick trick, something simple and easy. I put a little bit extra of the brow color right here in my gun. The reason I did that is I want to show you how easy it is to airbrush eyeshadow on. Again, this isn't something I do all of the time, but it's great when you want a real kind of smoky and diffused eye, but you want it done in seconds, something that you don't have to blend. Now, as an artist, I definitely recommend when you're working around the eye area that you turn your PSI down a little bit. So I'm going to turn the PSI down, and again, these are one of those things you're just going to get used to of understanding what's too strong. And I always ask whoever I'm working on, is it comfortable, does it feel good? So close the eye. Is that a little too strong, or does that feel good?
That's fine.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is use the brow stencil that we used for her brows. I just cleaned it off. And we're now going to use it to just give a very light kind of smoky eye, something very quick and very easy. So I'm going to take this part of the stencil. See, every part of the stencil is made to do something else. This is made for brows. This is made to do kind of a winged liner. This is made for around the lips. And this is made for when you want to do more of a kind of a smoky or something that's more circular around the eyes. So I'm going to have her close. I'm going to use this right where I want to emphasize the color. Again, something quick and easy. Open. Okay, close the eye for me. Now, you do want to give it a few seconds for SB to dry. It takes a few seconds for it to dry, but once it dries, it's not going to move anywhere. That's one of the beautiful things about this formula. So just 1 or 2 more drops to do the other eye. So again, using the stencil to kind of control where everything goes. I'm going to place it right on the outer corner of the eye, making sure that my PSI is down. Open. Perfect, and close. So what you can see, now I could take this so much farther if I wanted to. I could go all around, all on the lower lid to give it real drama. What I just wanted to do now is give a lift to the outer corner of the eye, so I kind of brought the stencil up, and I just wanted to play more on the outer corner. Because I'm going to take that highlighter that we used, the peachy pink highlighter right around here, I'm going to use that on the inner corner of the eye so that you have this really nice contrast. So I'm going to clean my gun just to make sure that there's nothing left in here. Again, just a little SB cleanser will achieve that and spraying right into one of the Temptu cleaning pots. And now I'm going to pick up the peachy pink. With this, you need very little. I would say about 3 drops. Just going to spray until I get that color out. And then we're going to be ready to go. So again, keeping my PSI down, close the eye for me. I'm going to start right here in the inner corner of the eye. And the same for here. Starting right in the inner corner of the eye, right on the lower lid. I'm actually going to kind of bump this up a little bit, make it a little bit more dramatic. Just a little bit more. And now, a great trick, when you want to dry SB quicker, just press down and air is coming out of the gun. Just literally spray air only right on top of the makeup, and that's going to make it dry even quicker for you. You can also use a little bit of a powder to go right on top of this if you wanted to set it to give it real longevity and durability. So now open. It's quick and easy. That's what airbrushing is all about. It's about professional results. It's about beautiful natural makeup, things that mimic skin, but it's about simplicity, it's about ease, it's about quickness, and it's just about making sure that the woman is always going, or man, woman or man is always going to look their best. The last step is just a little bit of powder because I want to make sure that she's not going to look shiny throughout the T-zone. So we're going to take the Temptu Invisible Difference powder, which is made to work with the SB line. We're going to take a powder brush, and we're just going to put this powder where needed. For Rebecca, I'm just going to use a little bit along the forehead, right around the nose and chin. Open. Beautiful. So the last step is just a little bit of lip gloss. I'm going to just use a little bit of a soft pinky brown and blot your lips together for me. Perfect. Just add a little bit of shimmer and gloss to the lips. And there you go. It's quick, it's easy, it's airbrush. It's all about making the skin just look its best and really kind of making your skin look healthy and alive. That's what it's all about. Thank you for watching our high-def TV beauty application. This is JP McCary using Temptu Pro products for MUA TV. Check out all of the products that I use today at temptu.com. Thanks and have a great one.